Hey everyone, welcome to another preview and predictions video. The team that we're going to be taking an in-depth dive into today is our 2024 Miami Hurricanes football team. We're going to do a complete preview of this roster with the goal in mind. The main point is, are the 2024 Miami Hurricanes going to finally get over the hump and make the playoffs this season? We're going to preview the roster and predict their schedule. Miami needs to at least go 10-2 this season to make the playoffs coming out of the ACC conference. You know, if they win the conference, then they're in. They don't have to worry. But will they be able to finally get over that hump this season? It's been eluding them for almost 2 decades now. But if it's not now, when is it? I definitely think they can do it, but let's do a quick preview. Go ahead, hit that like button and subscribe. If you have any comments, drop them below, and I will make sure to respond as well. So Vegas, as of right now, they predict Miami to go 9-5. So Vegas kind of has them hovering from that 9 to 10 win season. I mentioned before, we need to at least get to 10-2 for Miami to have a shot to make the playoffs. I think at 10-2, they're a shoo-in for the playoffs because we know the playoffs have changed. They're now letting in 12 teams, the 4 Power 4 champs. If Miami wins the ACC, they're a shoo-in. They automatically make the playoffs, get to skip the first round. If they don't win the ACC, you also have the Group of 5 champ, and then you have 7 at-large bids. So even if you don't win the ACC, if you play for the ACC championship, you have a pretty good shot of still making one of those 7 at-large bid spots. So Miami, the schedule's there. This is not a rough schedule this season. Miami usually plays a pretty difficult schedule, especially out of conference. They don't play one this season. Outside of Florida, out of conference is basically garbage this season. There's a lot of easy games. There's a lot of down teams. So the road is clear. The road is open for Miami to finally do it. Like I said, this team is built to win right now. If not now, then when is it? The drought of not being on the national stage for the Miami Hurricanes needs to end. This is the squad to do that because you have a lot of veteran players at very important positions. That should definitely help this team. Head coach Mario Cristobal, he's been working overtime with this roster. ESPN has this roster ranked as the number 9 overall roster in all of college football. That's blue chip wise, 4 stars, 5 stars. Whenever people talk about Miami's roster, a lot of people go, oh, you know, that roster's not good. They're not that good. Well, what else are you basing it off of? Because it's that same rankings that say that Alabama, Ohio State, Georgia are number 1, 2, and 3 roster-wise. Well, they have Miami at 9. If you don't believe it, get over yourself. You're just being a hater. Let's be unbiased. Let's call it what it is. This roster is very talented. It falls on the coaches to utilize and develop that talent on the field and scheme-wise. If they can get that done, they should be able to go far. Cristobal, he's brought in 3 straight top 10 recruiting classes. They were number 4 last season. He's brought in 3 straight top 10 transfer portal classes the last 3 years straight. As I mentioned, this team is loaded. The quarterback, Cameron Ward, the number 1 transfer portal quarterback. He's going to light it up. The running back is Damian Martinez, the number 1 transfer portal running back. As I mentioned, experienced starters. Not just a 5-star coming out of high school. These are guys that have proved themselves at the Power 4 level already. But Cristobal is 12-13 at Miami in 2 years. That's not good enough. He needs to do a lot better there. He needs to perform better. I would actually say that anything less than 9 wins would be a massive disappointment on this season. But because their schedule's so easy, me personally, I think anything less than 10 wins is unacceptable with the talent that's on this roster. Now, when it comes to some areas they need to work on, the main thing that stands out is the secondary. There's going to be a lot of fresh starters there, but Cameron Ward comes from an air raid scheme at Washington State. The offensive coordinator for the Miami Hurricanes is Shannon Dawson. He runs the air raid, so it's a match made in heaven. The offensive line last season was a top 10 offensive line in the least amount of sacks given up. That's a quarterback's best friend. He's going to have a sturdy line. He's going to have a great running game. And this team has a loaded wide receiver core. When you're looking at the offensive line, you have Maui Goa there. You have Rivers. Those guys are back. Those guys are both going to be playing in the NFL. The running back room is deep. You have a top 10 running back with Damien Martinez. And you also have Fletcher backing him up. That's one of the best 1-2 punches in the country. I already spoke about the wide receiver core. You have Restrepo back. He's an All-American. You have Brown, who just transferred over from Houston. You have Horton, George, Ray Joseph. The team is loaded at wide receiver. Secondary, safeties, Kinchins, Williams are both gone off to the NFL. So we are going to be breaking in some new starters there. Porter Jr., Hill, Powell. The linebacking core and the defensive line is also set. Those positions are stacked. You have Maui Goa there. You have Bain, Mesidor, Clark, Cook. As the cherry on top, you have one of the best kickers in the entire country. You have Andres Barragales. He's basically a surefire thing to make a field goal from anywhere all the way out to 55 yards. So this team is built to win right now. Like I said before, 10-2 can get you into the playoffs. If Miami wins the ACC outright, they automatically get the bye week and get into the playoffs anyways. Looking at their schedule, they're kicking things off Saturday, August 31st at Florida. That's one of those 50-50 games, first thing of the season. Both teams are rusty. Anything can happen. It is at Florida in Gainesville. The Gators are going to be fired up. They have a really difficult schedule, but they haven't gotten knocked down yet, so they're still going to be playing with a lot of heart to start the season. But I have Miami winning that. I have Miami winning September 7th versus Florida A&M, winning September 14th versus Ball State, winning September 21st versus South Florida, Friday, September 27th. That Virginia Tech game can be a pretty hard game. Thankfully, they're not at Virginia Tech, but you never want to underestimate the Hokies. They had a really good squad last year. They do run the ball well, but I have Miami winning that. And then at Cal, that can also be a tough game. They run the ball well, and you're traveling completely across the country. But I think Miami will pull it out, but it'll be close. Louisville could be a hiccup game. I think Miami's going to drop one of these games that they're more talented than the team, but Mario Cristobal always has one letdown somewhere every single season. And Miami's known for having a letdown, and Mario Cristobal loses coming off of a bye week every single time. This game's after the bye, so I have them dropping this one to Louisville. And then you have Florida State. Miami almost beat Florida State last year. Florida State's a very good team, but they're breaking in a lot of starters. They sent their whole team to the NFL, but they do have DJU. But I think Miami's going to pull it out this year, and they are in Miami. First, Duke, a win. Georgia Tech, they need to win that one. They need to make up for the lack of kneeling last season. They need to get some revenge. They're going to win that. Wake Forest, win. Syracuse can be tough. Kyle McCord has transferred there, but I think Miami should win it. So I do have a Miami's predictions video. You can go check that out. But I have Miami finishing the regular season 11-1 going to the ACC championship. And I actually think they'll win the ACC championship. The most likely teams they'll play is probably a rematch with Florida State, or they could end up playing Clemson. Anything can happen in the ACC championship, but if they go 11-1, if they win the ACC championship, they're obviously in the playoffs. If not, even if they lose, if they're 11-1 during the regular season, they're still going to get one of those final 7 positions, and they'll still make the playoffs. Just getting in there would be a massive step forward for a program that's been waiting to get back on top for 2 decades. So I do have Miami making the playoffs as one of the final 12 teams this season. So that's our breakdown of our 2024 Miami Hurricanes. Go ahead, hit that like button and subscribe. If you have any comments, drop them below, and I will respond. Thank you.